Hi Laura Layla. I saw your Carmel video, and I think that if you would have asked my advice back when you were asking people advice, what advice I would have given you would be this. It'd be imagine the Tubes like an old western. Yeah, I'm going cowboy with it, of course. Except it's not a western full of gunslingers. It's a western full of sumo wrestlers. And you got Carmel like running around as a little sumo wrestler, calling out somebody like you. And everyone would say like, oh my God, why in the world? Why in the world would you take on one of the biggest sumo wrestlers here? Yeah, so like, you talked about standing shoulder to shoulder. I think that shoulder to shoulder thing would communicate itself as Carmel calls you out in the street and everyone's like, well, I reckon Carmel's in for an ass whooping. You know, but we're not going to go stand out shoulder to shoulder with you because Carmel's going to get an ass whooping. But that might feel like that you stepped outside to deal with it and we all stayed inside and drank sarsaparillas. So I wanted to tell you about my chapter of Carmel. I'm sure the book isn't closed, but I kept getting these messages from this Carmel, and at first they were nice, and they slowly started to evolve more and more into these comments that I used to get from this troll, this guy that I just couldn't stand. I couldn't stand him because he drew me out with kind comments, which drew me out, and then, you know, then he switched on me, and which made me feel like that's what the design is. It makes you feel like a total doofus. Like you're like, what's wrong with me? How come I can't tell what our people are like? So I started thinking like, you know, I kind of think this Carmel person is the guy that I had all those troubles with, and so I started. Here's what I started doing, which would have been my advice to you, is I just started every time she engaged with me, I started meeting her in the street. You know, like, yeah, you know, what's up with you? What's going on? What is this supposed to mean? I don't understand that. It seems to me that, like, sometimes she picks up on a word that I use, talking about something else, and she'll get like a message from it, and want to talk about a message that I was giving her, and then I seized on that. That was like the sumo wrist lock. I'm like, right here is the problem. You know, that's where I started thinking of Carmel like Medea, that kind of maniac woman that's all like, oh, please don't throw me out of the castle. I will see you and your family burn. Oh, it's so cold and I hear wolves outside. I will string up by your entrails. Yeah, you probably know Medea. So I started always pointing out the Medea-like comments, and which was a form of like verbal combat. Obviously, whether she knew it or not, she was sending me annoying troll-like comments. And I started fixating on certain comments that I had a problem with, and also encouraging her to make a video. You know, I'm like, oh well, you know, this whole dramedy of you're a male troll can be put to rest with a video. Then she put out a video, and she's like, now you apologize to me, and I'm like, I'm so sorry that I thought you were a male troll. I'm sorry that I called you a male troll. It's obviously not true. You're a female troll. But here's my main want. All that leverage of the Medea-like comments that I was getting, what I want to do is lever her out of the shadows, so to speak, and into a video. Because people are like, oh, I haven't seen any comments of hers that are like this. But now she has a channel where you go back and you look, and there's her videos, and coming out of her mouth is that same, the same jargon that comes out of her fingertips, that same keyboard gangster behavior. And then I kind of felt like I was done. I was like, all right, I'm ready to walk back off the street now and get me a sarsaparilla. So Yeah, I guess I would suggest something along the lines of that. If you're going to walk out in the street, know that we've got your back, but we don't think you need to join you out in the street. Though I think some of us did in our own ways, like Warbles, I believe, and Fred and Piero and well, you know your tribe as well as I do. Anything else left to say? Oh yeah, I know what you mean about feeling like your space in the tubes might be constrained by somebody. I've had a couple of people try that, and that felt so enragingly wrong to me. That yeah, I would do anything to prove to them that they're not going to constrict my movements in the tubes. Yeah, it takes extra effort, and it's annoying, and not necessarily how I want to express myself or the time I want to take. But sometimes, yeah, you get called out in the street and you got to go out. So, all right, thanks for coming out for a walk. I'll see you in the tubes.